Hey y'all, welcome to Kelvin's Classroom. Today we're going to talk about organization. So organization is when we're thinking about organisms that are large organisms that are complex. So you can imagine animals, plants, humans, how they're structured and organized in a way that makes them effective, right? So when we think about really small, simple organisms, one-cell organisms, they don't have to be very organized because everything they need is in the same spot. As an organism gets larger and larger, it needs to have more complex systems involved in it, so that way it can actually function properly. In humans, we have a lot of different organ systems. So some of these are the digestive system, where we take in food, break it down, give it in a structure that our body's able to take it and use it as energy. We have the circulatory system, where we deliver things around the body. We have other systems like the musculoskeletal system, so muscles that allow us to move, the skeletons that provide support and structure for the body. And a human needs all of these different systems to work together, to work well together, for us to be able to function. And when any of these starts to get off, you notice it because the body starts to have things not going well. Now, humans aren't the only ones with these systems, but because we're kind of taking a lower level approach looking at it, we're not going to go into detail with a lot of systems outside of mammalian systems, which humans are mammals, and they're the ones that you're the most familiar with. So we can kind of ease our way into it. Now, as we're thinking about this organization in different organisms like plants and animals, we usually think of it from an approach from small to large. We start with the smallest unit, which is a cell. So cells are the building blocks of all living organisms. All organisms are made up of cells. They come in various shapes, structures, things that they can do. If you're interested in that, we will have a video on cells. You can go ahead and check that out. Now, after cells, when we get groups of cells put together, we call this tissue, right? Now, I'm not thinking about blowing my nose on some tissue. I'm thinking about a combination of different cells, which we call tissue. Now, for this, all of the cells that go together are the same type of cell. So, for example, if we have skin tissue, it's a collection of skin cells. If we have tissue that's muscle tissue, it's a collection of muscle tissues. All of the cells working together to form one function. Now, as we get bigger from tissue, we have organs. Organs are collections of different types of tissue, right? So now we're not just taking one type of cell and putting them all together just to get one thing. We're taking a lot of cells to put together to get a tissue, and a lot of different cells to make a different tissue, and we combine those different tissues together to get an organ. Now, when I say organ, likely a couple of things popped into your head. Either a heart, that's a very common organ that we think about. The brain, another very common organ that we think about. The lungs. There are lots of organs that might easily pop into your head that you recognize those as body parts, right? So we can kind of think about organs as specific body parts that perform one specific function to help us. Now, when we start taking all of these different organs that are working together to perform a function, we think about organ systems. So, for example, I mentioned digestive system earlier. As we think about some of the organs inside our digestive system, we can think about things like our stomach, our intestines, our mouth, our esophagus. They all are working together with one purpose of trying to break down food and turn it into a usable chemical that we can turn into energy. They're all working together for one purpose. So they're an organ system. And then we get to an organism, which is just a compilation of different organ systems, all working together to help one single individual living thing be able to survive. Now, we won't spend too much time talking about it, but inside organisms, there are also smaller organisms, microorganisms that are living inside it that are also helping it function. So when we think about the digestive system, you have lots of microorganisms or little tiny living things that you'd have to use a microscope to be able to see that are living inside you. All on their own, they're a living organism, but they're helping you function. So they help break down different various foods inside your body. All right, so that's what you have to look forward to in this topic. As we go forward, the next thing we're going to take a look at is we're going to look at the digestive system. We're going to get into a lot more detail about it, so please come back. And as always, please, if you found this interesting, go ahead and like, subscribe, throw a comment in there if you have a question or anything like that. And again, if you found this useful or you think that someone that you know would find this useful, please share this with them. Thanks. Catch y'all later.